If someone was in crisis this time of year, I've lost acquaintances around Christmas. If someone was in crisis, and by crisis I mean, and again, I knew someone just a few weeks ago who took their own life. There's a lot of that going on at the moment. As a mental health professional, what would you...
I think sometimes people try to take on too much and they think that they can help the person through and there's some superhero that's going to solve this problem. But it's irresponsible to try and take on things that are outside of your expertise. So definitely, if you're worried that someone's of immediate harm to themselves or someone else, calling the emergency services in 999 in your country, 911 in my country, taking them to the emergency room of the nearest hospital. There are what's called crisis skills and a type of therapy called dialectical behavioral therapy, DBT. And that's the kind of skills which are literally like a band-aid. They're not for long-term work to solve a problem, but they're literally just to snap you out of that sudden impulse to do something silly. People like plunging your face in ice cold water. That shocks
to change
the
your
body.
thought from the immediate thought in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of shocking your system out of it.
These family situations at Christmas, some people are going to family situations or with in-laws, and there's lots of things they're not used to. Maybe they're used to being on their own. Would you have any advice for anyone in that situation?
What I advise my clients is try to, on a daily basis, not all of a sudden when you're getting to Christmas and you're in the thick of it, but on a daily basis, lower the baseline. So lower the stress levels by doing just a few minutes exercise of mindfulness, meditation, even just a 3-minute breathing space. When you get up, just doing a little bit of mindfulness or grounding yourself in the present moment by just noticing your breathing. And that mindful noticing can give you a bit of space so that when you go to your family and you're activated, you're irritated, you have a little bit of space between what's going on and your own internal state.
To share something from my own family perspective, at Christmas, I struggle not to argue with, say, if my mum, she's a wonderful person,
right,
and she means well, but she's 62, and we rub up against each other in two critical areas. One of them is I think that she carries around societal homophobia that she doesn't realise about. And the other one is probably just bits of not being particularly keen on woke culture. And I find myself being on the front foot almost with her and finding things in what she's saying, even if she doesn't necessarily mean that. And what's been said to me, and I've heard this from other friends in the LGBT community, is that she says, when sometimes with you, I feel like I'm treading on eggshells. And I'm like, Is it treading on eggshells, or am I just looking out for myself? If a relative has been homophobic or offensive towards your worldview, and when you're dealing with someone who just wants to put you down, I suppose this is useful not just for family situations, but for everyday life. How would you go about dealing with that?
I guess the first stage would be to try and help them understand the impact of their words on you at an emotional level. That I hear what you're saying, but what you're saying is hurting me. Is that what you intend? That you want to hurt me? And it may be that they do. Then maybe the second stage is to explain calmly that the consequences, that if their behavior continues or if these words keep vomiting out of their mouth, then there's certain consequences. And that can include detaching yourself from the situation.
You'd say, if you keep doing this, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. Or if you keep doing this, then I won't, unfortunately, have my children around you the next time because I don't want my kids to hear this stuff that's going on.
How would you say, if you're planning to spend Christmas not with the family, it's you or whatever you want to do, how would you suggest someone structured their time?
I like the way you said also structure the day. I mean, that can sometimes help if you think, okay, well, I need to tick certain boxes. So when in that day am I going to tick those boxes? So I need a little bit of human interaction, and that doesn't have to be family. It could even be a FaceTime call. It's important to have that face-to-face interaction. Studies show that increases the dopamine levels. It also activates what we call the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the kind of natural social engagement or relaxation state that we go into, which is the opposite of fight or flight sympathetic nervous system. Human contact is really important for activating that parasympathetic relaxation state.
But saying no to an invite can often cause offence with people. And often you're not looking to have an argument. You're not looking to offend. You just need to do what is right for you. How would be a decent way to go about this?
Interacting with other people is, you've got to use assertiveness. Just kind of thinking of, I like the imagery of a well-rooted tree. So your kind of feet are firmly on the ground. And even though someone might be pushing you to say yes, your no is still firm. It's like a swaying tree in the wind. You're still repeating calmly and short sentences, a little explanation about why you're not going to go.
So you've got an insight there that I really don't have as an LGBT parent. How is that around Christmas?
It's an education. It's an education because I'm very mindful, keeping a close eye on my kids in terms of them getting any bullying or exclusion or stress, whether it's Christmas or throughout the year, as a result of our kind of lifestyle. And, I can't control what other parents do if they exclude my kids from play dates or whatever because they don't like me and like.
Does that happen? Sorry. Does that happen? Do you find your kids excluded or?
Trouble is, you don't know for sure, do you?
Yeah, they wouldn't say, would they?
I've got to sort of develop a mindful approach to this. I've got to have a little bit of distance from this because I could go in and punch someone who I thought was doing that. If I really reacted to how I feel, but I need that gap. I need not just the cortisol levels to go down. I need a bit of mindful control over my behavior. In fact, I've got a funny story. I was recording one of the mindfulness exercises that's on my website for free. You can use any of them. I was recording it and I could hear the footsteps of my child walking up the stairs. So I was quickly trying to finish recording it before she burst in. So it wasn't a very mindful or relaxed experience for me either. And then as soon as I pressed record, I was screaming, "What do you want? I'm trying to be mindful." We also live in a society of privileges, straight privilege, cisgender privilege. So we're constantly living in a society that's set up for other people. So that's a lot to manage on a daily basis. We have microaggressions that we experience. And even though on their own they're small, if they build up, the cumulative effect of microaggressions can have a significant impact on mental health. I mean, we're talking about microaggressions, but also we have to deal with discrimination, overt discrimination.
Yeah.
We kind of don't necessarily get the same treatment in terms of social situations or employment rights. Over here in America, there's not as much protection in terms of employment rights. So that's a lot to carry around.
Top 3 tips to stay on top of your mental health this Christmas for LGBTQ plus people?
Assertiveness, assertive communication, being okay with sharing how you feel, but also hearing how the other person feels. Emotions are always valid. There's no right or wrong with emotions. That's number 1. Number 2 is bringing down that baseline on a daily basis, even just for a few minutes, doing some sort of mindfulness exercise or meditation to bring down that cortisol level so that when you do get triggered, you don't go off the charts. And then number 3, challenge your thoughts and assumptions. So we all get stuck in these kind of thought patterns that are unhelpful to us, black and white thinking or over personalizing a situation. So really just stop and think, what other information am I missing?
Of course, there's your book as well, which I was just looking at on Google before it's available to buy online.
Yes. Yeah. Well, everything I've talked about today is available in my new book, Beyond the Blue. And the reason I wrote that was the pandemic made mental health care almost inaccessible. So I thought all the stuff that I'm talking about today should be available in a little book so that people can help themselves when they get stuck or get stressed. So yeah, it's available in Amazon and all online bookstores at the moment.